What is up everyone? In today's video we're going to create this kind of Apple style dock animation in After Effects. Let's start off with creating a new composition. I'm just going to rename it to Apple Dock quickly so that we know which one it is. After that I'm just going to import all of the app icons plus the mouse pointer plus the background and the trash can. I'm just going to use the rectangle tool next in order to create this dock outline. I'm going to round its edges so that it's like, traditional Apple style rounded edges. It looks really cool. After that, I'm just going to make sure that this rectangle is centered. Okay, so use the align function. And I'm also going to change the color of that dock to something that's a little bit more dark gray, almost black. Now I'm just going to import the background, which I generated with ChatGPT. This is the wallpaper. So it looks great. It looks really similar to the Apple one. It's the iconic Apple wallpaper. After that, I'm just going to quickly rename the object so that I know which one is which. Next, I'm going to start importing the apps. So let's just start off with After Effects, obviously our favorite. Scale it down so it fits within the dock area really nicely, just as though it was on a real Mac computer. I'm just going to copy these scale parameters, paste them onto the Adobe Illustrator logo. I'm going to reposition it to the left so that the apps are in order. Same with the Photoshop logo. Copy the position parameters and scale. Same for CapCut. Just do the same thing. Bam. Now for Safari. Make sure to keep a pretty much same distance between those apps in order to make it look good. And now, of course, Premiere Pro. Bam. Let's just move it just like so. And now I'm going to create this sort of small divider thing. And it's something that you normally see on a Mac computer between the apps and the trash can. So first, let's just add the divider thing using the pen tool, 1 and 2. And now we've got these 2 points. So I'm just simply going to make sure that it is visible. I'm going to increase the stroke actually to 4 so that it's clearly visible. And I'm just going to import the trash can into our composition. I'm just going to scale it down so that it fits. Actually, that's a little bit too big. Okay, that's going to be better. And so now this is already starting to look great. I'm going to center the trash can with the align tool. Okay, next up, I'm just going to create a text layer so that it's just going to be a period, basically, a small period. And the font doesn't quite matter because, I'm just going to use the one I have right here. I'm just going to set it to bold so that the period is clearly visible. I'm going to change the color to white. I'm just going to reposition it in a way that it's beneath one of the apps. So let's just go with After Effects first. You can see that that's a little dot right here. Let's just change the scale of it. It's a little bit too small. Okay, that's more like it. And basically, this is also something that is happening on a Mac dock where you've got all of these dots for apps that are already open. So this is what it is supposed to mimic, just as though it is a real Mac. Just like that, I'm just going to duplicate those dots 7 times. Move it right here. Okay. And the next one, let's move it out to the right beneath the Photoshop logo. Same for the CapCut, same for Safari, same for Premiere, and the same for the trash can. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to reorganize the composition in a way where the dots are going to be beneath each app. So I'm also going to rename each dot so that I know which one refers to which app. So the Adobe Illustrator dot, Photoshop dot, the CapCut one, the Safari one, and the Premiere one, so that I know which one refers to which application. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to select all of the apps. And I'm just going to move out a few frames forward so that we can create an animation. I'm just going to hit position for P, so create a keyframe for position, move out to the front so that it can create a nice swipe up animation. So I'm just going to bring it down, And now I'm just going to select all of those keyframes right here. And I'm going to click F9 in order to make it way smoother. And I'm also going to edit the speed graph in order to edit the velocity, which is going to create an even smoother result for us. Something like this. Bam, that looks fucking genius. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to select both the dots and the app logos. Okay, so that we have all of those selected. I'm gonna hit T for opacity on my keyboard really quickly. And that way we're going to create an animation that not only includes a swipe up, but also like a fade in. So just decrease the opacity right here. Make sure that it is set to 100 pretty much before the keyframe, the last position keyframe. Hit F9 in order to make it smooth, and bam. Now once I play it back, take a look at this. It looks cool, but every app shows up at the same time, which looks kind of basic. I'm just going to color code each dot and app which refers to each other so that we can keep it organized. But I'm just going to move out a few frames, okay? Move out a few frames, a few frames, a few frames every single sort of animation cycle. Does that make sense? And I'm going to move out the app and the dot that refers to each other so that each of them is delayed a couple frames. So I'm just going to do that for Adobe Illustrator, but then I'm going to move a couple frames later. I'm going to do that same thing for Photoshop, okay? Just move it out a couple frames. Same goes for this. Same goes for Safari, okay? Same goes for Premiere, and same goes for the trash can, so that they gradually show up from left to right and the trash can. And then finally, we are left with that little line thing that divides the trash can from other apps. What do we do with that? Well, basically, I'm just going to create a basic opacity change. So I'm just going to set it to 0 at the beginning and 100 after a couple seconds of the video's existence, if that makes sense. Let's just move it out. Maybe that's going to look a little bit better. And we can also hit F9 in order to make that smoother. Bam. Okay, that looks good. By the way, if you want to get the project file, make sure to check out the pinned comment down in the description. After subscribing to my newsletter and confirming the incentive email, you will receive access to this assets page, which is packed with tons of free assets from various videos. Okay, after that, I'm going to introduce the cursor into the composition. I'm just going to scale it down a little bit because that's a little bit too big. And I'm going to go to the After Effects icon. I'm going to go to scale. I'm going to hit Alt next to the stopwatch in order to create an expression. You'll find the expression down in the description below. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the expression only, the one that we just entered in there. I'm just going to paste that same expression onto all of the apps, Premiere, Photoshop, CapCut, okay? I'm just going to now paste it in. And what happens now is if we, go and hover over these apps with the cursor, you're going to scale up, and that's going to create a super cool effect, super cool animation. But now let's go back to the After Effects logo, and let's make sure that once we hover over that particular app, which is After Effects, we're going to click with the mouse and it's going to open After Effects. That's the goal right here. And now I'm just going to edit the speed graph so that we can sort of create that more realistic bounce effect that is typical for macOS. And it's going to be a little bit complicated with those keyframes, but I'm just going to copy the last two ones, duplicate them again. Okay, let's do the same thing right here. Just adjust the speed graph a little bit because it's a little bit off right here. Let's just move this slightly. Give me a sec. Let's just copy that once again. Again, let's adjust this, and basically now what's going to happen is we're going to have the mouse animation, okay, and then it's finally going to end up being on the After Effects app, and it's going to bounce. Next up, we're going to add a CC light sweep effect onto the main dock. That way we're going to have like this really cool glowing sort of like a light sweep. Basically, it's going to be super cool. Now we're going to introduce that CC light sweep onto all of the apps, starting from Premiere Pro. Just copy these settings exactly and copy them from Premiere Pro and select all of the other apps along with the trash can. So trash can on Safari, after that Photoshop, okay. And let's just paste it onto all of the apps, okay. We're going to introduce bevel and emboss, and we're just going to paste that in onto the rest of the apps as well. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. Bevel and emboss. And we're just going to make sure to decrease the size slightly. And we're just going to copy this, paste it onto Safari. CapCut, Photoshop. Okay. Just paste it in. And after that, I'm just gonna create a keyframe for the cursor so that it sort of at the end of the video goes down. Okay. And let's just make this a little bit nicer. And after that, we're just going to introduce deep glow onto the mouse, the mouse cursor, so that it has that glowing effect. We're also going to introduce a little bit of deep glow onto the logos. So Premiere Pro, let's just adjust the settings slightly so that it's not so strong, but just a little bit. And let's just duplicate deep glow onto the rest of the apps right here. So, okay. Select all of them, hit Ctrl V on our keyboard in order to paste the effect. I know if it's not a little bit too strong. Okay. But now, okay, now it looks fine. And then next thing is we're gonna select the dots and the line, every entirely white object. I'm gonna paste in deep glow onto that as well so that it also has that nice glowing effect. Play around with the deep glow settings, but animate the cursor correctly so that it hovers over the dock the way you like it. And then at the end of the animation, the app that you want to select needs to have that bounce effect, which I showed you earlier how to do. And then eventually, once you opt in for an amount of deep glow that is just the right fit for you, the animation will be completed. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure to check out this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.